because you probably couldn't hear it. He just said, "God, that sucks."
No, fuck it. Start over, Peter.
Hilarious.
Peter, do the update. We're starting over. This is the actual update.
Okay.
This is the update. We're doing a story about AirTags. People are using them to steal cars. Peter's got the update.
Thanks, Mike. This is an interesting story about a novel way that the Apple AirTags are being used to steal cars. Basically, what's happening is that they're kind of putting them on cars in a place where they're difficult to steal from, waiting until they get moved to somewhere where they're easy to steal from, and using the tracking technology to find out when that happens. What do you think, guys?
This is scary.
This is smart.
It's smart. It's very cool. It's a very creative and clever use of the technology.
This is cyberpunk crime. Like this is the future. You know, it's what I've been waiting for. We're just a couple of steps away from lightsabers.
Yes, we're almost there.
Yeah, I think it's the ingenuity is very impressive. Obviously, you got to give kudos when it's due. Like this is how you do it. GPS technology can be fairly expensive and bulky. Slapping something on with, a GPS tracker onto a car can be very suspect. An AirTag or whatever it's called, not suspect. Like what I'm assuming they're using double-sided tape, and just probably slapping it on the bottom of the car somewhere,
or like sticking them under the gas cap or something like.
Sure,
that.
Exactly.
Anywhere on the car, they can get out of sight.
Yeah, anywhere. No, very, very smart, very scary. And this is kind of like a thing where, how do you defend against this? Apple would have to come out with a way to detect unauthorized AirTags in the area, which they probably could. But it wouldn't make sense.
Like this. Oh, no, it's not just unauthorized. It's when you're in the presence of a tracking device, you have an ability to be alerted about it, which is a fair thing to know. And thank you, Mike, for recognizing that this is giving people agency to act on the information rather than just being silently tracked like they are all over the internet. But that's another
Did I
segment.
acknowledge that?
Yeah, you did. I just do. Well, you were going to. I knew you would, so I just thought I'd get that out of the way. So yes, this is possible, but the thing is, on a car, it's much less likely to when you're driving around a neighborhood, you're going to get pinged by that sort of thing all the time.
Right.
And so in this particular case, like it's you're going to ignore it. So it's not a great solution. They have thought about this.
Maybe worse than that, though. You're going to get pinged about it in the parking lot before you leave with it in your car.
Yeah.
And take it home with you.
Yeah. There's a lot of implication. Could I just talk about the AirTags themselves for a minute? Because I find them kind of fascinating. The way it works is really quite interesting. They piggyback on local devices, which are part of the Apple network. So Apple have created a global network of near-field communication using any Apple device. So Apple smartwatches or phones or tablets or whatever. And the trackers and other things are essentially part of this massive mesh network, which is just kind of fascinating in a way. They haven't asked anyone's permission to do this, but on the flip side, they're not trying to do anything too dodgy with it that we know of.
And there's some very cool uses. People use them to prevent bike theft. You can put them in baggage when you're traveling. Like there's some really legitimate, nice uses for something like this. Yeah,
it's very cool. And like Jon was saying about how it's difficult to, GPS stuff is hard and unreliable, but this is clever. And they've done one of those things where they're in this position where they have billions of devices that people own of theirs. And they've now got a chance to do things that just was not possible beforehand. Yep. So this could not have been done in this way before Apple existed, basically. So yeah, it's not something that...
I imagine Android, I imagine Google could do something similar, but they're probably limited to hardware, where Apple...
with Android devices, there's no single owner of the network. There's no, like, Samsung have, billions themselves. There's Apple have they have such market penetration, and they own the whole thing. With Android, it's multiple big companies owning big chunks of it, but they're not
right. They're limited. Exactly, they're limited to hardware. So it's. I think it's feasible, but it's probably not. It wouldn't be as. And also, what we have to remember is something you mentioned, which is, Apple dominates, and I mean dominates the tablet market. You don't go get a Samsung whatever. You get an iPad. You refer to it as an iPad. Like they have actually,
or you get a Samsung one and then trade it in because it sucks for an iPad.
Because it sucks, and Android's actually a shit OS for tablets. I run Android on my phone. I'm a big fan, kind of a fan. Was
it Samsung we trashed last week for the TVs?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right. Can we trash them again? Just get out
I trashed. You guys were supporting their whole bullshit rolling updates without letting anyone know. No, fuck Samsung.
Okay. All right. Okay.
You said that was trash talk number 2. Check.
Jon went from 0 to 100. Boom.
So I think I agree. The uniqueness of what Apple has here is something that we haven't seen before. This is definitely the biggest ad hoc network or mesh network, and I wonder what sort of applications they're going to come up with when we're looking into the future, because I'm a big fan of decentralized hosting, decentralized really anything. Like, I think it's a very cool concept with infinite redundancy, and Apple has almost solved it. So because they have, like you said, iPads, iWatches, they have it all, Apple Watch, whatever.
So here's a device perfectly suited for spying. Thieves are using it to identify high-end cars and track those cars back to a person's home, which not only gives them the opportunity to later steal the car, but also tells them where this person who owns a very expensive car lives and may have other very expensive stuff in their house.
Right.
I don't hear a lot, like I hear we're afraid, we don't, whatever. I don't hear a lot of outrage. Why is there no outrage, Peter?
Because
they're being tracked. It's personal information. Yeah. It's a privacy violation for sure. Why is there an outrage?
Well, no. But it's how you leverage tools, right? It's not. You should not blame the tool. And this is not. I'm not shifting this into gun conversations. Okay,
no.
So let's just. I'm saying that. So we keep it out.
Except now you just said it, so we're all thinking it now.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So anyway, on the topic of weapons and guns, let's bring it in. I'm just kidding. I think we should not blame the tool, just like you don't blame the internet for identity fraud. You blame the person who's committing identity fraud.
No, you don't blame the person who's committing. You blame the person who left their information online and just opened themselves up.
But no, this is my question though, Peter. Why is this different?
Sorry. I don't really know. I don't really understand the question.
So you don't blame the tool, right? So what if I'm using Google Maps? It's collecting my information and somebody gets access to that information. They can track me the exact same way. Is it a problem that Google's tracking me?
No, they cannot track you the same exact way.
Why not?
Because I have to turn my location on. I do not get a say here as a user, right? Because I'm a victim. I get a location put onto me by force. Right, without my knowledge or consent. That's the difference. I'm consenting to Google tracking me. When I click the Maps locator button, I'm telling Google, hey, this is totally cool. You can follow me around. Whatever happens. But here I have no say. Yeah, here I have no say.
It's not the same with the iPhone that has this functionality.
What do you mean?
You voluntarily purchased an iPhone that has the ability to broadcast your location like this.
Sure. But it's not. No, again, it's not an individual iPhone, right? Even if I didn't have an iPhone and they put an AirTag on me, they'd still know where I live because statistically speaking, the surrounding areas will have Apple devices. right? So I am at no fault. I'm not contributed to Apple's market, nothing.
Okay.
Yet it's still happening to me. So I think it's a bit, but I hear what you're saying. I think there should be a healthy dose of outrage here.
Well, because of the AirTags themselves, or?
Well, maybe, right? Because the applications for creepiness don't stop at following cars. I can slap this I can put this in someone's bag. I can.
Well, yeah, that's why I said they have thought about this and they have tried to proactively prevent it and come up with ways of making people aware. You know, the whole stalking side of things is a big deal. That's how a lot of the conversations I saw were from the anti-stalkerware community who were concerned about the application of AirTags for abuse, in abusive relationships where people are going to covertly, follow their partner around, which is a valid concern. But Apple have actually addressed it, and they've said, that it's possible. You should be aware of when these things are around and when.
But I have to own an Apple device to be aware.
Yes, that's true.
Now we're coming into deadly territory, and that is not how this should be handled.
I need to find out more about this.
An Apple device, the same thing happens to me.
Say that again.
I need to find out more about this because I think they've been a bit more sensible than this. But it was a couple of months ago that I read up on it. So, but at the time I remember thinking, okay. That seems sensible, but I don't want to be wrong here about the details. So
we can follow up on it.
Yeah.
But the more I think about it, actually, the less attracted I am now to the whole idea of these. So, we'll look back on it.
What I think is that they are trying, and it's more than other people are doing.
So don't blame the device. And tracking is fine as long as they're trying. Good show, guys. We'll wrap it up there.
God damn it.